Hi everybody, how are you doing out there? I hope all is good in life, love, health, happiness, and you're wearing clean socks. This is Dino V. Today I'm going to be doing something a bit different with my video. I thought I'd have a bit of fun with the Beatles albums. What I'm doing here is the British UK studio albums, so not including compilations, not including Magical Mystery Tour, just the ones recorded, released between 1963 and 1970. So what I'm doing is I'm going to focus on the opening tracks of each album and the closing tracks. And what I've done is I've done a score, a method that I've used to rank which album I find is top with the best or my favorite opening track and closing track. Will be revealed as I go on. I wish to say and want to say and have to say, because I'm being forced here, thank you for everybody for subscribing and give me the thumbs up. Please share, please subscribe, like if you haven't, or give it the thumbs down if you think I'm a bit of a... Get the message? So yeah, if you could subscribe and like, that would be great, because I want to do more videos, and I'll mention at the end of the video what videos may be coming up like a flower very soon. So as long as I get participation, more subscribers, more likes and comments, which I will reply to, then I shall carry on doing them. But anyway, let's get to this. So British UK albums released between 63 and 1970. There were 11, and so what I've done, I've written down the opening track from each album and the closing track and put the scores together to see what I find as which album's got the best opening track and closing track. 11 albums. So here's the top 11, but there isn't 11. You'll see what I mean. The reason there isn't 11 is some have come in joint with the scoring system that I've done. So I ranked the track 1 and the last track on the album, put the two scores together and see which album comes top, which album comes bottom. So in last place, which is actually even surprised me, is Abbey Road. I was shocked myself, but let me explain. Opening up with a stunning track like Come Together, you'd think this is going to be awesome. However, I'm doing it correctly, and the last track on here is Her Majesty. Now, Majesty is a nice little ditty, but it spoils the score. If Her Majesty wasn't the last track on the album and it was the end, this would be number 1, but it's not, because Her Majesty, His Majesty now, His Majesty's a pretty nice boy, so Her Majesty ruined that, really. That would have been probably number 1. We've Come Together in the end. You can't really beat that, can you? So that actually comes in position number 6. That's bottom. Now just above that there's two joint ones, so they're like joint bottom but one. They both come in at number 5. So that's Beatles for Sale and A Hard Day's Night. So A Hard Day's Night opens with the stunning chord. Is it a D diminished 7th fragmented avocado chord, whatever it is, played by George on his new 12-string Rickenbacker from America. A Hard Day's Night, stunning track to open it with, and of course it opens the film. But the last track is I'll Be Back. Now don't get me wrong, I'll Be Back is a lovely song, but I certainly wouldn't rate it or rank it high up as a lot of the other closing tracks. Beatles for Sale, same score for me as A Hard Day's Night. Opening track, No Reply, great track. Now when I say great track, it's a lovely track, great track, but not brilliant, not super world class in my opinion. And it closes with Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. Again, great track, but in my humble opinion, not a brilliant, fantastic track like some of the others that are coming up. So above A Hard Day's Night and Beatles for Sale, I have got there's 3 here. There's actually 3. So these come in. So I've had number 6, which was Abbey Road, and Beatles for Sale. Actually, I got that wrong. Beatles for Sale and Abbey Road came last. Then above that, I got A Hard Day's Night. Then there's a joint 4th place for these ones with the Beatles. It Won't Be Long. Great track, brilliant track probably, but not what I consider one of the Beatles' best. And it closes with Money by John, which is one of his greatest vocal performances ever. Absolutely incredible. Joint 4th with that is Help. Starts with the opening track, obviously the song title to the film, one of the Beatles' best singles, and it finishes with Dizzy Miss Lizzy, which is a shame because it's a cover version. Again, John screams his lungs laryngitis or whatever he screams his lungs and tonsils out on Dizzy Miss Lizzie. Absolutely incredible, but I don't rate Dizzy Miss Lizzie as one of the most greatest tracks. Plus it's a cover version. Rubber Soul starts off with a brilliant Drive My Car track written by Paul. I'm just doing it that way actually, it's quite good that way, isn't it? Yeah, which way? But unfortunately it ends with Run For Your Life. Like I keep saying, I'm not going to keep saying it. It's a great track. It's not a brilliant track. So that puts it down in the running. Now, if Rubber Soul, life's full of ifs, if Rubber Soul had finished with If I Needed Someone or Nowhere Man or even The Word or Norwegian Word, that would probably be joint top. So above that, I haven't even written this one down. Oh, I'm so professional sometime. No, actually, that's higher up. I write all these facts and figures down, and I don't know what I'm doing at half time. So next, in joint third place are these albums. The White Album and Let It Be. The White Album, what a cracking start. Paul again with an aeroplane. Is it a DC-10? You'll tell me. Is it a Lockheed? It's like they're arriving by plane. I was thinking about this, and them arriving by plane. It's almost like the Beatles touching down. Maybe possibly have come back from India and it's plane arriving. They hadn't been to Russia, had they? They'd been to Rishikesh. So what a stunning opening back in USSR. Incredible track. But it ends with Good Night. Lovely song. John didn't want to do it. Wasn't exactly his style and gave it to Ringo to sing. So that's there. And then we got Let It Be. Starts with Two of Us. Again, a beautiful McCartney song. Incredible song. And it ends with Get Back. Another great McCartney track. But it's not two absolute killer tracks to me. Because the Beatles did so many killer tracks. And so that's just there. Now, in second place is Sgt. Pepper's. Opening with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and ending with A Day in the Life. A Day in the Life, if I had to rate my favourite Beatles songs, well, it's always going to be Hey Jude, but after that would be A Day in the Life and Strawberry Fields. So A Day in the Life, I'm sure most Beatle fans would rate that as one of their greatest ever tracks recorded. It blows me away every time I hear it, and if you listen to it on headphones, it blows you away even more. Where you've got the horses and the animals running from ear to ear. You've got A Day in the Life. You've got Lennon's vocals going ah, incredible. After so much praise is heaped on Sgt. Pepper's, some say it's over the top praise, but stunning masterpiece. But it opens with Sgt. Pepper's, brilliant song track, but I wouldn't rate it in the Beatles top 20 or 30 songs because again they're so prolific and they had so many amazing songs that Sgt. Pepper is stuck at number 2 when I put the opening track and closing track together. And before I get on to what's number 1, this is interesting when I did this, but I think it's interesting. So on the 11 UK albums opening and closing tracks, John opens 5 of the albums and closes 7. So that's 12 in total. But remember, there is a score totally of 22, 11 times 2 is 22. So all in all, John opens with 5, closes with 7. Paul opens with 5, closes with 2. So he's got 7. George, bless him, he opens with 1 and closes with 1. He opens with Taxman on Revolver and closes with Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby on Beatles for Sale. Whereas Ringo, poor little Ringo, only gets 1 to close out the White Album with Good Night. Now, top 2 albums, which I consider have the best opening tracks and the best closing tracks when I put the scores together, is these 2. Even this surprised me. What I tried to do was, for example, on Please Please Me, I did a score for each track. So I saw her standing there, I gave it a 10. And Twist and Shout, I gave it a 10. The reason being, even the counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, what a way to start the Beatles album releases. What a way to do it. And then closing with Twist and Shout, did John ever sing anything as incredible as that, as raucous? True, he's brilliant on Revolution, Come Together and Money, but Twist and Shout, I don't think Lennon ever bettered his rock and roll vocals. That's why Please Please Me is joint number 1 in my list of what the best openers and closing ones, along with Taxman. The album's called Revolver. Along with Revolver, it opens with the stunning Taxman track written by George. What an amazing song. And finishes with, is it the best album closer ever? Tomorrow Never Knows? Or is it A Day in the Life? It's so hard, isn't it? And you can't choose Abbey Road unless you like Her Majesty better than those tracks. So yeah, joint number one, which surprised me, because I actually thought it would be like Abbey Road or Sgt. Pepper. When I got down to it, I thought, well, the opening track on Sgt. Pepper is brilliant, but not super brilliant. And as I say, Her Majesty's on Abbey Road. So it should have been the end. But hey, I'm not George Martin. I don't make the decisions. I didn't make the decisions. I wasn't at EMI Studios when they were doing it. So yeah, the joint albums I choose are Revolver and Please Me. This is the one that surprised me more. Got Paul opening it, you got John closing it. Absolutely raucous and incredible. What about you though? What do you consider the best opening track on an album, and what do you consider the best closing track on an album? Just talk British releases, non-compilations, non-live, just 1963 to 1970. I'd love to know, so put in the comments below. Yeah, just here, look, just there. Look, there's another finger to help you, okay? Just there in the comments. Write what you think's the best opening track and the best closing track on the albums, and maybe you could put a score. So if the top score for each track would be 10, if you've got a 20, that means you rate both songs as a 20. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching this. And I will be doing more videos, but that all depends on your participation. So, pens in hand, Dino says, subscribe and like. On the next video, I've got many topics I want to cover. I mean, I could cover, and here's a clue, I could cover this. Now, do you know when that photo was taken? Do you know when? I was there, and it's an incredible, and I met him after. It's an incredible story of how I saw Paul on that day. You might not even know when it was taken or where. I might even do a feature on the band who were my first loves of my life before I discovered the Beatles. This band, I have all their albums as well. So I might do a feature on Yabba Dabba Doo. Picked this up the other day. I could do a feature on the albums that I buy and collect. This is a lovely Please Me I got the other day. Can you read that? Pretty cool, isn't it? One thing I am working on, but it's going to take quite a while because it's quite in-depth, is this man. Now you can read this book, Here, There and Everywhere. My Life Recording the Music of the Beatles by Geoff Emerick. Geoff isn't praised enough. Yes, George Martin was the producer. Lennon and McCartney were primarily the songwriters. But Geoff Emerick, when he was on board, and the things he did in the studio to get some of those sounds and do things and break the rules and be a naughty boy and give the Beatles sound something that had never been heard, and the EMI people didn't know he were doing it, could have got him in trouble, could have got him the sack. So I think it's very important to focus on Geoff Emerick and have a discussion on his life. Now, I've purchased a lot of items over the years, and I have quite a few of Geoff Emerick's items. For example, one of his Frisbees. I've got some very fascinating stuff, and it's very poignant and very sad. And sadly, Geoff isn't around anymore. And I've got lots of his documents and documentation. And this is a very interesting one. So this is Geoff Emerick's rental of a car. It was a Ford Omega. Is it an Omega or Ford? Or is it a Vauxhall? I don't know. Anyway, it was an Omega. It's got the registration plate number, and he had a green one. Now, that's not very interesting here. So what if Geoff Emerick hired a car? Well, I know. Doesn't mean much, does it? However, this is the rental agreement. And you know. The moment you know. So it's got Mr. Emerick's name. It's got his address of London and where the car was to be delivered to. Now, this car, this Omega, I think it was a Vauxhall, wasn't it? This was to be delivered to the hotel Geoff was staying at. Now, the hotel Geoff was staying at was in Peasmarsh in Rye. The rental started in February 1996 and finished in March 1996. So why do you think Geoff Emerick was in Peasmarsh, staying at a hotel, renting an Omega car? Why Peasmarsh? What's important about that place? If you know, you know. If you don't, then watch. It will be a future video, and I've got a lot, I sound like Cilla Black here, a lot of stuff to go through about Geoff Emerick. I have many items of Geoff's, whether it be tickets, family stuff, birthday cards. What was Geoff Emerick doing on his 21st birthday? And more importantly, when Geoff was 21 years of age, what was he working on in the studio when he's 21 years of age? As I say, I do have many Geoff Emerick items, and they're lovely and very personal to me, and they're not for sale, so please don't ask if they're for sale, because they're not. They're mine, and I'm fascinated by Beatles history, and I like to try and collect something different. So as I say, my next video, I don't know what it's going to be yet. You put suggestions what you'd like. I know I mentioned before about doing something on Geoff, because you've got Mal Evans, you've got Neil Aspinall, two major people. Brian Epstein gets his own fair share of stuff. And but what about Geoff Emerick, eh? What about Geoff? Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching this. Thanks for subscribing. Leave any comments, any questions, thoughts, theories, and I'll catch you next time. Take care. Peace and... No, Ringo does that. I'm not signing autographs anymore. Take care. Have a great day. You've got some lucky socks. Ciao.